Welcome to Down to Earth Astrology and Primal Girl Wellness. I am Miss Jenny, and I am your astrologer. This is a very, excuse the not glamour puss face. I'm literally, I've got like 5 minutes to do this, and I gotta go to my other job. So, I have some interesting news. So, for those of you who have been following the news in terms of events in the world, we know that there was a near miss military coup in Moscow, Russia. The whole regime was almost overthrown by a bunch of mercenaries. So apparently the Wagner group is a scary bunch of characters. Scary bunch of characters. They're mercenaries, which means that basically they're loyal to no one unless there's money involved. Lots of money and their personal interests, which, is not really, when you think about it, not very different from most people. The difference is mercenaries are amoral, so they don't really have any particular code of conduct or morals that they follow, except, what they deem convenient at the time. At least that's my understanding of the definition of a mercenary. So you've got a bunch of mercenaries who have been recruited by Putin and the Russian government to go fight in Ukraine because they can't get their own people to fight because remember when the war with Ukraine, just shortly after it broke out and they were like forcing people to join the military to go fight, there were literally just droves of people, especially young men, who left the country. They were not getting involved in this, so they literally fled Russia for parts anywhere else so that they did not have to get pulled into Putin's war. Which, in situations like this, leaves you with the old, the infirm, and, the women and the children, which are not ideal candidates for, turning into war fodder, So he has, and they have no experience. These are not trained fighters. So the government resorted to hiring or recruiting mercenaries. So this is, oh my God, this is like literally can't finding a dog that you to guard your property. So you go get yourself a big old bad old junkyard dog that nobody can control. So anyway, the head of the the head of the Wagner group, Wagner, his name, and he is the person who is responsible for this near miss attempted military coup of the Russian government, is Yevgeny Prigozhin. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And apparently he did this like in the last 48 hours because some nitwit in the Russian government in charge of military operations, and you got to understand, apparently a lot of the people in government, running these operations are billionaires and cronies and not people who give a damn about their jobs, or how this impacts the people that they're sending off to do things. Kind of like our government right now with the Republican Party and maybe some of the Democrats. Anyway, but Russia's been at this for a much longer period of time. Okay, so bribery all the way down from up and down the chain has been normal in that society for a very, very long time. And I'll give you an example, and then we're going to talk about Yevgeny. In Russia, it's a known fact that if you have a car, if you can afford to have a car and you drive, you have to carry cash in the car because it's bribe money. Because the police supplement their income by randomly pulling people over and threatening to give them tickets. And apparently it's a big problem if you end up in the court system, even for traffic tickets in Russia. You don't ever want to end up there because it's apparently a lot more expensive and bribes at every level. Time consuming and blah, blah, blah. It is so undesirable to end up in the court system, even for things like a traffic ticket, that it's easier, makes more sense to bribe the police officer to get out of the ticket. So if you don't bribe the officer to get out of your ticket, you get sent to court. It's a whole big bag of mess right there. So it's a given. It's common public knowledge that if you drive a car, you better have cash in the car just in case the police pull you over, because the best option out of this is going to be bribing the cop. And they can pull you over for anything. They don't actually have to have a good solid reason, like some of our police departments, except they don't get bribed. Well, they don't take bribes, not from us. Anyway, so this is Russian culture. Like when it comes to government legal stuff, like it's basically a giant mob controlled. The mafia is apparently safer to deal with than the police departments. That is also common knowledge, right? Whee! Yeah, Russia. Okay, so I looked up the chart for Yevgeny Prigozhin. I don't have time to do it right now. No, I know, and it's one of my videos. I'll go find it. I'll link to it in my next video. I know that the clock is running out for Putin and has been for quite some time. We did a birth chart for him back in 2022. And he came up in a couple of other things talking about Ukraine, which I thought would end a lot sooner than now. But the clock is running on Putin, and he will not be in power after like 2024 or 2026. I gotta find the video, and I'll double check it for you. I'll put the link below. So it was interesting and of note that this mercenary decided to attempt this military coup because one of these nitwits in charge above him, in charge of military operations or something, apparently fired on the mercenaries. They tried to bomb the mercenaries. Like, you're literally trying to kill the people you've hired to go do, oh my God. So Yevgeny, of course, was like, we're done. We are done. So apparently and this is not something that just happened overnight. Apparently he's had misgivings about their involvement in the Ukraine and not getting enough resources and literally being sent out to, just as sacrificial lambs. They don't have the tools and the weapons. They don't have anything that they need, pitchforks and fire sticks. From the Russian government. So this has been an ongoing issue with the lack of support and resources that they've been given to go do the job they've been required and requested to do. And now the final straw has been dummy in charge, like had the military firing on them, right? Or dropping bombs on them. So now Yevgeny is like, that's it. We're done, right? And if you've seen this man have a tantrum on TV, like with the interviews, he's a scary guy. He's literally, he's a big, bad junkyard dog. This is not somebody I would want to cross, right? Short, brutish, and nasty. He's scary. He's got all the finesse of just Anyway. So they said, to hell with you. We're going to take care of that. We'll fix you. So he apparently, fix my camera. So apparently took his troops and started the march on Moscow. They literally got into Moscow, which is one of the, St. Petersburg and Moscow, the two big cities in Russia. So he apparently got into Moscow with tanks, with military, with weapons. They were ready to rumble, baby. And I think they may have actually taken somebody hostage while they were in the thing. They actually got a hold of somebody, one of the officials. So we don't know what happened. There's a big, secret agreement. And they've decided to stand down. Now, stand down does not mean that they're not going to do anything. It just means that, all right, fine. All right, we won't do anything right now. But, right, so this is kind of where everything's at in Russia. And the reason this is important to pretty much everybody else on the globe is, remember, Russia is a country that has nuclear power, nuclear forces, right? So it's bad enough when we've got a madman and his cronies like Putin running the country with, nuclear weapons at their disposal. It's even worse when you've got a big junkyard dog who's got all the finesse and sophistication of, a junkyard dog, right? Who now has access to nuclear weapons, right? And basically has no loyalty or ethics or principles, to anything except lining his own pockets and power. Money and power are the only two things that matters to this guy because he's a mercenary. That's what mercenaries do. So I looked at the chart. I'm like, who is this character? And is this going to be the demise of Vladimir Putin and the whole government? So here's what I thought was interesting. And I may or may not do a chart for him. I don't know that Yevgeny is going to be around forever. I don't think Yevgeny, even if he's capable of taking over the Russian government, he won't be in power for very long. I'm not seeing it in the chart that this is his destiny. However, here's what I thought was interesting. If you look at Yevgeny's chart, here's what's really powerful and why he's such an important character right now. So Yevgeny carries Saturn, are you ready? At 29 Capricorn. Where's Pluto right now? Retrograde at 29 Capricorn. So what that means in terms of astrology is that in this particular moment in time, and remember, we don't have a birth time, so we don't have an ascendant or houses for Yevgeny. What this means is that with that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in his chart, and Saturn is his personal planet, right? This means, because Pluto represents fate and bigger picture stuff, this means that Yevgeny, his karma, right, his obligations in this lifetime, Saturn, has a lot to do with playing out very big picture, evolutionary, mass scale events. So he is an important player, in the changing tides of the masses, because Pluto rules the masses. And Saturn is our personal karma, our obligations, our debts in this lifetime. So he is being called forth to specifically do a job on a very esoteric level, right, very karmic level, that's about the evolution of that country, So, with that said, Yevgeny is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's exactly where he needs to be, and he's not done yet. He's not done yet. As long as Pluto's rolling over that Saturn for the next, 4 or 5 months, however long it takes, but well into next year, I think. As long as Pluto is there on his Saturn, right? And, and Pluto's in the last, it's the cleanup crew. It is the Pluto at 29 Capricorn is the cleanup crew. So it is here to finish off and tie up any loose ends that weren't covered through its original passes through Capricorn. So while we're here and Pluto's cleaning up the little bits and tying up loose ends, and Yevgeny Saturn is involved with that Pluto, Yevgeny is playing a very, very important and critical role in shaping and changing the destiny of Russia. Ooh, this could get exciting. So Putin's demise is imminent. It is imminent. And the people who are military experts and all sorts of stuff that are well versed in this, they're talking about it and they get it and they know much more than I do. But I am going to absolutely agree, and so we're both in agreement at this point, for different reasons, that this is the end of the stronghold of Putin's government. So it's that 100-year reign of Putin is literally the cracks in the ice are there now. And it's just a matter of time before everything breaks open and we've got an avalanche. So